A conflict is raging in Cameroon, one the outside world barely knows exists. It's primarily a battle between Cameroon security forces and armed separatists in the country's two English-speaking regions. A conflict that, in 8 years, has killed over 6,000 and forced hundreds of thousands from their homes. A conflict that has subjected Anglophones like myself to property destruction, unlawful killings, rapes, adoptions, and much more. Both the Cameroonian authorities and armed Anglophone separatist groups have fought hard to silence journalists in their reporting. Working on this story is a risk, but I believe it's a risk worth taking to show what people in my country are going through and the price they are having to pay. The Anglophone crisis has ravaged my land for almost a decade, and funerals like this have become all too common in this part of Cameroon.
May the soul of our departed brother Johnson Mabia, find total and perfect rest.
This was Johnson Mabia's funeral, an Anglophone government civil servant. Johnson and 5 other colleagues were captured by armed separatists seeking independence for Cameroon's 2 English-speaking regions. They demanded a ransom of about $56,000 for his release. Whilst attempting to raise money, Johnson Mabia's wife received a call from a relative of her husband.
He said in the dialect, "Mother, Kubaba na CEO, Johnson na baby," meaning I should take care of the children, that my husband is no more. I didn't even know what to do. I was just shouting uncontrollably. Tuesday he was traveling, he was kidnapped. Friday he was killed.
This conflict has been simmering for decades. Since gaining independence from colonial rule, Cameroon's Anglophone minority have felt sidelined in this predominantly Francophone country. And in late 2016, peaceful protests began to demand an end to their marginalization. Cameroon's government responded with violence. As tension escalated, in 2017, Anglophone separatist leaders declared independence for what they call the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. From this point on, conflict raged, and me and my family got swept up in it. In January 2019, we were forced to leave our home in Kumba, in the southwest of Cameroon. We used to wake up in the morning to dead bodies on the streets, or you hear that a house has been set ablaze, or you hear that someone was kidnapped. It was very difficult. It was very difficult to stay in Kumba. An estimated 5 million Anglophone Cameroonians, about 1/5 of the population, have been dragged into this crisis. Jato was on his way to work when he was attacked by a group of armed separatists. He used to work for CDC, Cameroon's second largest employer. He runs plantation in the Anglophone southwest and is controlled by the state, making it a target for separatists.
The reason only this the government take the money, buy a gun, they can shoot them. We only continue for work. So that reason, with it that it will like kiwi, make the thing stop. I want you to see spring colors as I wake up smart, I jump to the colors cut my event for years to pass. I want you to make my hands so I'll say, what it be the problem? You cut you trimmed in my hand and so down.
As well as attacks like this, schools have also become targets, considered by some separatists to be mouthpieces for government propaganda. In October 2020, at least 7 children were killed at a school in my hometown. No one claimed responsibility, but the government blamed separatist militants.
Today, 29th of January 2024,
there are various separatist groups, some more organized than others, many funded through the Cameroonian diaspora.
Some of the Anglophones have become so radicalized
and a bit cut off from reality in a way that is separation of nothing. So everybody should die for us to have independence. And I ask the question, if everybody dies and you have independence, who are you going to govern?
As separatists persist in fighting for an independent Ambazonia, the government has also escalated its own violent response. Burning villages, like in this video, raping women, torture, unlawful arrest, and extrajudicial killings. The cycle of violence seems endless.
They brought out a pistol gun inside with bullets, insinuating that my brother and I were keeping those weapons.
John, along with a close friend, was taken into custody by a group of military security forces and accused of buying weapons for separatists, something he denies.
They tortured him. You could just hear them flogging everywhere. I could just imagine how they were doing because that was the same thing they were doing on me. I could feel it on my own body. They beat me everywhere. Then he was screaming, and later on you could just hear him just making
John's friend never left the room where he was tortured. He died there. There have been a number of national and international mediation efforts, but after almost a decade of fighting, there seems to be no end in sight to this crisis. The Cameroonian Ministry of Defense did not respond to requests for comment. The Ambazonia Defense Council says that while the Ambazonia Defense Forces are the largest force, there are a multiplicity of separatist fighters. The Ambazonia Defense Forces say they operate within international law and do not attack CDC workers, schools, journalists, or civilians. They say they are individuals and fringe entities acting on their own accord who are not members of the ADF. And they accuse government infiltrators of committing atrocities while claiming to be Ambazonian fighters to turn the local population against the liberation struggle.